Right now on Brookland News Live, the latest on the war in Iran. What the details we're now learning on this Friday. Right now, the Senate debating the SAVE Act. We're breaking it down one more time for you. And new allegations made against the Bachelorette star Taylor Frankie Paul. And the season of Bachelorette pulled. Brooklyn News Live starts right now.
It's time for all the news you need and more. Brooklyn News Live starts right now.
And it is good to be with you. I'm Jackson Mitchell on this Friday, March 20th. Good to be back with you. I know we missed 2 days. We're going to bring you up to date on all of those headlines you may have missed. And there are a lot we're going to bring to you. Starting first with the latest on the war in Iran, as it is now day 20. And that war hasn't stopped at any point in time. It's entered actually a more dangerous phase with both sides targeting energy infrastructure, causing global oil supply disruptions and surging prices. Thousands have been killed, millions displaced, and Iran threatens to target sites out of the Middle East. That's the latest update right now from Iran, all as President Trump now questioning should boots be put on the ground, which essentially means should U.S. military personnel be inside Iran on the ground, not just in the air and on the sea. Take a look to President Trump's response to this exact question yesterday in the Oval Office. Here we go.
Do you intend to lift sanctions on Iranian oil, and do you intend to potentially put U.S. troops or more troops in the region?
No, I'm not putting troops anywhere. If I were, I certainly wouldn't tell you. But I'm not putting troops, and we will do whatever is necessary to keep the price as low. I actually thought when I did this, look, the Dow just hit 50,000 a couple of weeks ago. They said that couldn't happen for 4 years. It wouldn't happen in my term. It's such an outrageous thing because I said it would happen. I didn't know it was going to happen that fast, but it just hit 50,000, and we did that in 1 year, not 4. S&P had just hit 7,000. They said that was even more impossible than the Dow hitting 50, and we did that in 1 year. So it's all done. Everything was going great. The economy was great. Oil prices were very low. Gasoline was dropping to, I mean, we had $1.99, $1.85. We had great everything. And I saw what was happening in Iran, and I said, I hate to make this excursion, but we're going to have to do it. And I actually thought the numbers would be worse. I thought that it would go up more than it did. But we're doing this excursion, and when it's completed, we're going to have a much safer world. And the Prime Minister agrees with me on this. He considers it to be terrible what Iran did. I think every country does, just about every country does. Iran is a serious threat to the world, to the Middle East and to the world. And everybody agrees with me. I think virtually every country agrees with me on that. So I wanted to put out that fire. And I said, if we do that, oil prices will go up, the economy will go down a little bit. I thought it would be worse, much worse, actually. I thought there was a chance it could be much worse. It's not bad, and it's going to be over with pretty soon. We've obliterated the Navy. We've obliterated just about everything there is to obliterate, including leadership. Their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft equipment is gone. We're flying wherever we want, Pete. We have nobody even shooting at us. They have, and as you know, their leadership is gone. Their leaders are gone. They picked new leaders, they're gone. They picked new leaders, they're gone. And now they're looking for new leaders again. We can take out the island anytime we want. I call it the little oil island that sits there, so totally unprotected. We've taken out everything but the pipes. We left the pipes because to rebuild the pipes would take years for them to do. But I would say we are substantially ahead of schedule. And I had to do this. I call it an excursion. I had to take this little excursion and do something that no other president had the courage to do. And everybody wanted to do it, but they never had the courage to do. And I don't blame them. I'm not blaming them.
So President Trump there talking about all of this as we continue to monitor the number of cameras that we have from the Middle East, from Tel Aviv all the way to Beirut. So we're monitoring both of those cameras. But the president keeps saying when it comes to putting boots on the ground, maybe that's not an option right now that the president is looking for. Now, we do have some more news on the military assets actually being sent near Iran's southern coast. The U.S. now deploying A-10s, which is to the southern coast of Iran. This would be to target fast attack boats, support oil shipping routes, and strike drone sites and military positions. Stephanie Rule over at MS Now spoke to the president earlier today. That exact phone call not released, but she talks about what was in that phone call. Take a look.
Now, Stephanie Rule just wrapped up a 15-minute phone call with President Trump. Stephanie joining us now by the phone. Stephanie, I know Trump already called NATO cowards this morning. What else did he tell you?
He did. You know, ironically, I wanted to get on the phone with you earlier, but I'm at the airport, and it took me quite a long time to get through TSA. The president and I had about a 15-minute phone call. We started, of course, talking about Iran. He said that Iran was 2 weeks away from having a nuclear bomb, and they would use it. Now, of course, most experts say it was at least a year away. He said that we could leave the war right now. We could walk away tomorrow, because we have just decimated most of the country and their power. But he said the regime would rebuild. It would take him about 10 years, but that's not an acceptable situation, which is why he thinks we should stay. He said the major thing is they cannot have a nuclear weapon. We obliterated it. We totally obliterated it. So that's very good that we're there. We talked all about our European NATO allies, and he continued to crush them. He said absolutely none of our allies in NATO have helped with support as it relates to the war. He said we don't need their help, but they've proven themselves to be a paper tiger. He also posted that on Truth Social, i.e., without the United States, NATO is nothing. And he said before he came to office, the United States, and you've heard this from him before, paid 100%. Now NATO allies are paying more, but they've done nothing. I asked about Ukraine helping and Ukraine supporting, and he said they've done nothing. Anything Zelensky has said as far as what Ukraine has done to help us, he's just doing for political and PR purposes. They've done nothing. He says Zelensky is very difficult to deal with. He says Zelensky is more difficult to deal with than Putin is. And he said Putin has also shown that he's not afraid of Europe at this point or our European allies. He says I would clearly say that he expressed more trust in Putin than he does any of our European allies. We talked about the Texas primary. He said originally they wanted to run against Jasmine Crockett, but Tallarico can be easily defeated, whether it's Ken Paxton or John Cornyn.
Alrighty, so a number of topics. We kind of just wanted to listen into that to focus on the Iran topic there from Stephanie Rule, breaking down a number of things she spoke with about the president. I believe she also talked about the DHS shutdown within this, this video that we have from MS Now, but essentially a number of topics discussed by the president here on this war in Iran. So we're going to be watching for the latest there. We also have some more news because we're learning a U.S. F-30 fighter jet was hit by Iranian air defenses during a combat mission over Iran and was forced to make an emergency landing. The pilot did survive and is in stable condition. So you've got headlines like that, but you've also got the president and earlier reporting suggesting that this war is costing $11.3 billion just in its first week. Now the Department of Defense or Department of War, however you refer to it as, now asking Congress for 200, excuse me here, I need to blow my nose in a second, billion more dollars. President Trump on exactly that.
Ask Congress for an additional $200 billion.
Well, we're asking for a lot of reasons beyond even what we're talking about in Iran. This is a very volatile world.
On Capitol Hill, the $200 billion request catching many members of Congress off guard. The president launched this war without seeking their approval. Now lawmakers from both parties demanding details before they write that check.
They need to come clean with the American people before they ask for $200 billion.
The president didn't consult American allies before going to war either. Today, as Trump welcomed Japan's prime minister to the Oval Office, a Japanese reporter asking why Japan wasn't given a heads up. Trump's response shocking the prime minister as he invoked Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor.
Why didn't you tell U.S. allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? You know, he's asking me, do you believe in surprise?
Alrighty, so President Trump there with interesting remarks towards the Japan Prime Minister when it came to Pearl Harbor. And when he was asked by a Japan member of the press, why didn't you tell Japan that this was coming? Okay, this all as fuel prices are continuing to rise. We'll get to that. We do have this headline coming, though, in from Politico. We'll take a look at it here in just a moment. Politico out with this reporting. One moment, it looks like we're having some issues. Okay, there we go. Politico out with this reporting saying the Trump administration may unsanction some Iranian oil as energy prices spike, according to Scott Bessent. Then you've got this report. CNBC out with this one. Netanyahu says Iran is being decimated, but revolution requires ground component. And I forgot to bring this up a few moments ago, but what this is referring to is what we were calling a few seconds ago boots on the ground, which President Trump kind of ducked and dodged that question and said it isn't still an option that is on the table at this point in time. Now back to this headline, this Politico article, we'll scroll through it. They call it the latest play weighed by the administration to stable the oil market against price shocks since the U.S. and Israel launched their joint operation. Quote, in essence, we will be using the Iranian barrels against the Iranians to keep the price down for the next 10 or 14 days. As we continue this campaign, I'd be interested to hear more about this, considering it has been the U.S. that has attacked a number of the assets that deliver oil to Iran within this entire conflict. So I'd be interested to see what exactly occurs here, and maybe if gas prices do end up actually coming down. Want to give you the daily update from AAA gas prices right now. Let's take it back to my screen. This is, of course, from AAA. The average standing almost at $4. It has only risen within the last few days, and it's only continued to do so. We're almost at $3.91 yesterday, $3.88 a week ago, $3.63 a month ago, $2.93. So that just shows you that it is only going up. And I'll tell you what's so interesting is I was watching some videos from people from the West Coast who were like, when I go to the gas station around the Southern California area, I'm looking at $6 plus to fill up my tank, and I'm thinking it's expensive to pay $50. I can't imagine paying $60, $70 to fill up a small sedan. Right here in Arkansas, the average currently $3.36. Crockett County looking at about $3.39. I think yesterday when I passed the gas stations, it was in the 330s, so we'll see how that goes. Places who are seeing a lot of expense are those southern counties in Arkansas, and Izard County also seeing some pretty high prices there. But other than that, Crockett County, luckily we're in a pretty good area. We're not seeing constant high prices. Taking a look at specific metro areas, right here in Jonesboro, looking at a current average of about $3.42 for unleaded. Talk about diesel, $5.50. What is the national average for diesel? Can we look at that? Let me go back. Let me just reload this page and go back to averages for diesel. $5.81 is their current average for diesel. So, what if we go here? Diesel, $3.60. $3.69, then it goes up, jumps up a month ago to a week ago, $4.89, $5, and then it jumps to $5.15. So prices there only going up when you talk about diesel. So I can imagine if you're those with a diesel truck, or what does the trucking industry look like, that like those that drive 18-wheelers? I don't know. I just know, like, this is really, I think when we talk about impacting places at home, and you already have lots of people saying they are against this, but what I'm saying here is when you have gas prices being affected, people who usually don't pay attention to politics, they start to notice that. They start to say, "Oh my, did I vote for President Trump? Is this the person who I wanted to vote for?" And they might do some quick research on their phone and find out why are gas prices so high. So we'll see if the Trump administration's plan here, to basically take Iranian oil, using their assets against them, essentially, will help Americans. They say 10 to 14 days is how long that could help. The consistent quote from Republicans have been short-term pain for long-term gain. So we'll see if the short-term pain is going to end up being short, but is it going to be over soon? We'll see how that goes, and we'll continue watching it. We'll bring you, have as we've done now for 21 days since this, actually it's been a little less than that, but since we've started Brooklyn News Live coverage on the war in Iran, we have done updates every single day on gas prices and have brought you the latest, and we will continue to do that. We are going to sneak in a quick break. When we return, we will have what you need to know on President Donald Trump planning a trip to Memphis, what things look like there. We will continue talking about the war in Iran as it continues. The latest from that region as we continue to learn more there. So, still lots to come right here on Brooklyn News Live. We're back in just a few moments. And welcome back here into Brooklyn News Live. Still good to be with you. Time is now 2:21 right here in Brooklyn, 12:21 on the West Coast, 3:21 on the East. Okay, within the last few days, we've learned of President Donald Trump's intentions to hold a roundtable event in Memphis that will occur on Monday, likely to focus on the Memphis Safe Task Force that his administration, I should say, a task force that his administration conducted. It focused on crime reduction. It will likely be highlighted during the visit. The task force launched in late last year. The Trump administration says it's made over 7,200 arrests with support from federal agencies and the National Guard. The roundtable will be held at the Tennessee National Guard, one of their buildings in Memphis. We have applied for press credentials. We are crossing our fingers and hoping that they will allow us to be there. If they will, we will be there. The event said to be held at 11 a.m. Central. If we get denied our press credentials, we will still be right here in this chair bringing you coverage of that event on Monday. Also, Markwayne Mullen testifying in front of the Senate and House committees on Homeland Security. This came after his nomination to become the next Department of Homeland Security Secretary after Kristi Noem has been ousted at the end of the month. She'll be out as that role. A full Senate confirmation vote yet to be held just yet. We actually do have a live look on the Senate right now. They're actually continuing to debate the SAVE Act, which is something else that we've been talking about in previous editions of Brookland News Live. But ahead of that vote, we want to play some video, some heated moments between Republican Representative Rand Paul and the senator during the confirmation hearings. He was the only Republican to vote no, but it became heated as they've had some fundamental disagreements, to say the least. Take a look.
Standard practice of this committee for the chairman to ask nominees the following question. Do you agree without reservation to comply with any request or summons to appear or testify before any duly constituted committee of Congress if you're confirmed?
I do.
We'll now proceed to 7 minutes of questioning. The record should show, and I think will show, a lack of contrition, no apology, and no regrets for your support. You completely understand the violence that was perpetrated on me. You're unrepentant. The only thing you quibble about is whether I met you somehow when you were in the House. I don't think we ever met when you were in the House. And this idea that the only thing you're upset about is not that you were for violence. What you're upset about is that I called you a liar because you said it to my face, which is really more about this machismo that you have. When in Oklahoma, the media asked you about the refugee welfare programs, the programs you voted to continue funding, it was this whole idea that you were going to transfer it because you were uncomfortable, your anger, low impulse control, causes you to then go after and decide that you're going to go after me as well. And so you say you completely understood that I was assaulted from behind, had 6 ribs broken and part of my lung removed, and that was just fine. That's something that you, I guess, approve of as far as resolution of political problems. When I talked to you privately on the phone, there was no apology. You just said, well, we can let our political difference, go by. And you said a few minutes ago, we can just set it aside. Well, political differences we can, but when you say that you agree with a felon, a Trump-hating felon who attacked me, somehow you think I'm just going to set that aside? Oh, it's no big deal. I lay in pain for 2 months, had 6 ribs broken, 3 of them separated, grinding upon bone for months, had part of my lung removed, and you think that's great and to be extolled. I mean, the sheer lack of any kind of self-awareness that you're going to be leading thousands of men and women who will have the use of force, and there's been great questions in our country about how that will be used, and you think a violent attack is just fine. So I guess my first question is, do you think...
I want to pause this here because I do want to provide a little bit of context here. So, according to Rand Paul, Markwayne Mullen, the senator from Oklahoma, criticized Paul, saying, I get why that man attacked you from in your front yard, is essentially what was the reporting alleged. from Rand Paul that Markwayne Mullin said to him. So that's the context behind them, and that is why they have not gotten along this entire time. Yet Rand Paul chairs the Homeland Security Committee in the House. Let's keep watching for this line of questioning here. We're just going to play this clip, but again, it gets pretty heated.
That justifying that kind of violence sets a good example for the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol.
Mr. Chairman, first of all, I didn't know the extent of your damage. When the phone call was made, I made it to you and I tried to talk to you. You didn't engage at all. In fact, you said, get your paperwork in. It's got to be 3 days in between.
You offered no apology.
Sir?
And you offer no apology today and no regrets. Haven't heard the word apologize, haven't heard the word regret, haven't heard I misspoke and it was heated and I made a mistake. Haven't heard any of those words.
Sir, actually, it wasn't heated, and I'm not apologizing for pointing out your character.
Good. So you're jolly well fine, and you want the American public and the people up here to vote, that may or may not vote for you, to know that you supported the felonious, violent attack on me from behind.
I did not say I supported it. I said I understood it. There's a difference.
Oh, so that means you really didn't approve of it, just completely understand it. What do you think most people would interpret completely understand to be? Support for or a condemnation of the violence?
Sir, as I said, we can have our differences. It's not going to keep me from doing my job as Secretary of Homeland Security. I'm going to secure Kentucky and take care of Kentucky as much as I am Oklahoma.
If this were a one-off, it would be one thing. If you just disliked me so much that you approved of violence against me, people could just write it off. Well, maybe they hate each other. But really, there's a pattern of this. Let's go ahead and roll the tape.
You know where to find me, any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big
Oh,
guy.
stop it.
Is that your solution every
Hold it. No, sit down. Sit down. Look at you. You know, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond, Mr.
Hold
Chairman?
it. Hold it.
If he got up too, would you have gone at it right there in the hearing room?
I would have probably jumped over the dais at that point. You have to be called out on it. If not, this guy continues to get away with this stuff. And it's just, it's silly, it's stupid, but every now and then you need to get punched in the face.
Well, go back to the 1800s and 1700s. They used to have canings.
And duels. So this was a moment from back in 2023 when the Teamsters president and Markwayne Mullin had a pretty intense moment, as you saw there. Markwayne Mullin pointing out that tweet from the Teamsters president, and then leading to that ultimate moment there. Bernie Sanders at the time, the Democrats led the Senate, and Bernie Sanders, the chairman, say you're a United States Senator, that wasn't appropriate. Let's keep watching this video here.
And they used to have duels. Yeah.
Right. And there was a way that men used to settle their differences. I ignored him 4 times prior to that. And people say, yes, you're supposed to ignore it. Well, I'm not a very good Christian. I try to be a good Christian. And I know people say you're supposed to turn the other cheek. I prefer the David method.
But we need to move from an almost
and by the way, I'm not afraid of biting. I will bite.
Biting?
I'll bite 100%. Yeah, I'm in a fight. I'm going to bite. I'll do anything. I mean, I'm not above it, and I don't care where I bite. By the way, it just is going to be a bite.
In hindsight, any regrets?
No, I really don't.
So no regrets. In fact, even after your anger had cooled, you were still bragging that if he'd only been brave enough to stand up, you'd have jumped over the dais and taught him a lesson, because that's how men should settle their differences. Do you think fighting as a resolution for political differences is a good example for the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol?
As you can notice over my shoulder here is my good friend Sean O'Brien. Both of us have had conversations. Both of us have shaken hands. And both of us agreed we could have done things different. Sean is someone that has become a close friend. We talk all the time. I've been on his podcast. We've talked through this. That's how you handle your differences. Not like this, Chairman.
I'm glad you guys are friends now and that you've reconciled. But really, it doesn't get to the real point whether or not you think violence is the way we settle things. In the days after the fight, you said, and I quote, sometimes people just need to be punched in the face. Is that still your opinion, that political disputes can sometimes and often only be resolved by violence?
No, I don't always agree with that. I don't believe in political violence. I've made that very clear. But sometimes people do need, theoretically speaking, sir, I get it. It's about character assassination for you. That's the way this game is played. I understand it. And you are making this about you, which is fine, but that doesn't keep me as Secretary of Homeland Security.
Character assassination when you were the one lauding the assault. Who do you think started that character assassination? I'm just repeating what you have done in character assassination. I'm repeating your support for the assault. So that's somehow something I started?
No, sir. What I'm saying is you're adding a lot to it.
In the days after the fight, you did many interviews in which you justified the violence as historically justified by precedents, such as caning and dueling. Is it today your opinion that the caning of Charles Sumner was not only justified, but argues still for resolving our political differences with violence?
What I was simply pointing out is some of the rules that still apply to this body. For instance, dueling with 2 consenting adults is still there. I was pointing out what is still
illegal for 170 years. There's no precedent for legal dueling. Even then, they fled the country. Do you realize that the man that beat Charles Sumner with a cane, he beat him till he was unconscious? You know why no senators intervened? Because his friend held a gun on the other senators, and he kept beating him until he crushed his skull. That's what you're insinuating as the president of the Senate, and that's what you live by. That is a very, very dangerous sentiment. After a half a dozen victory lap interviews where you pointed out that the union guy was just lucky that fear kept him from standing up, Dana Bash asked you if you have any regrets about bringing violence to a Senate committee, and you replied that you have no regrets. Today you've said you have no regrets about being happy, being completely understanding why I was attacked from behind. You had no regrets about, instigating a brawl in a Senate committee hearing. Are those still your opinions?
Mr. Chairman, you're going to have your opinion. I'm going to have mine. As Secretary of Homeland Security, I'm going to bring peace of mind.
Again, some heated moments there between the Senator Markwayne Mullin, now the DHS Secretary nominee, and the Senator Rand Paul, the Republican in the House of Representatives. So something we will continue to follow. We'll let you know an update when the Senate in full comes to a vote. His nomination did pass the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee 8-7. So Republican Rand Paul voted not in favor, but the senator from Pennsylvania voted in favor. The independent senator voted in favor, helping the nomination go forwards 8-7. Again, we'll update you for the final confirmation vote in front of a full Senate. More to come right after this break.
Memphis. Memphis is
That's the next city.
deeply troubled. And the mayor is happy. He's a Democrat mayor. The mayor is happy. And the governor, Tennessee, the governor is happy. Deeply troubled. We're going to fix that just like we did Washington. I would have.
President Donald Trump there, that was back soon after the death of Charlie Kirk, the assassination, rather, of Charlie Kirk, saying that the next city, this was after, Minneapolis had the ice, all these other cities, Chicago, Washington, D.C., the president saying he was essentially going there, cleaning them up. Memphis, one of those cities, ultimately. That was back, the president announcing there in a Fox and Friends interview on the Fox News channel there. He's expected to hold that round table on Monday. If we're not there in person, we'll stream it live for you right here on our YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that. I will have updates over the weekend. Likely, if I do get denied, I probably won't. But if I get approved, I definitely will. Do want to take you right now to another story that we're following. Young adult James Gracie has been found dead after he was reported missing during a spring break trip in Barcelona. A body believed to be that of Gracie, a missing 20-year-old student at the University of Alabama, was recovered from the sea in Barcelona after a multi-day search. Authorities are investigating the cause of death right now, and it does foul play is not at this point in time believed to be present. So we're gonna bring you updates on this. You can see those pictures there from the Associated Press appearing to show the body of Gracie while law enforcement was surrounded near. So this is something and a story that we will continue to follow. Also, James Comey, the former FBI director, has now been subpoenaed for an investigation in 2016 on Russia. This is a part of a Justice Department investigations into officials tied to the 2016 Russia investigation and later cases. The investigation, which has issued over 130 subpoena, focuses specifically on claims of on claims of misconduct. Here's NBC reporting on all of this.
Former FBI Director James Comey has now been subpoenaed in connection with a so-called grand conspiracy investigation run by a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney, according to two sources familiar with the matter. Remember, Comey has repeatedly been singled out as a perceived political enemy of the president's, and a previous attempt to prosecute him by a different Trump appointee was thrown out. NBC News reached out to an attorney for Comey who didn't respond to our request for comment. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida did not immediately respond. We're going to stay on top of this story. We'll bring you any updates as we get them.
Okay, there you heard her saying they were going to stick with it and bring updates when there were any updates. Okay, we're going to sneak in another quick break. When we come back, some drama in the TV world. So if you guys watch The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I've watched every part of it until this season currently. Well, there's been some drama with kind of the main star in the show, Taylor Frankie Paul. Some allegations made that she was committing domestic violence on her former boyfriend. What we know about that and the video, TMZ has exclusive release. We're going to show you the video and the news we're now learning about The Bachelorette, which she was expected to also star in. We're back in a moment with that. Also, Tulsi Gabbard testifying, previous opinions show she was anti-war. What she said about President Trump's war on Iran. And welcome back here into Brookland News Live. Lots of news to talk about. Starting first with ABC now announcing they have canceled the season that Taylor Frankie Paul was expected to star in of The Bachelorette. This comes amid allegations of domestic abuse. TMZ now exclusively obtaining video. We're going to show you the video and her response to all of this. Here is this video. This is again of I want to warn you, this could be found disturbing to some viewers. This trigger warning here, domestic possible domestic abuse. This was back a few years ago, I believe, and it shows Taylor Frankie Paul throwing chairs while her daughter appears to be nearby at Dakota, who is her previous boyfriend.
Look. Yeah, look. This is called physical abuse. Yeah. Yeah. See, Taylor, this is all you do. It's the only thing you know how to do is hurt me. Huh? And you think this is okay? It's not okay. Holy I don't give a Let me go. Stop. Dude, leave me alone. Oh my gosh. Your daughter is right here. Oh my gosh. Oh my. You're unbelievable. No, you. Stop throwing stuff and help your daughter. Help your daughter. Stop screaming at me. God. Stop, Taylor. You're done. That's it. That is it. No more. You're done. Stop. No. I did none of this. This is your own pain. You're doing this to yourself. Stop. No. I'm done taking the blame for you. Yeah, I'm sorry, Indy. Taylor? Get the out! I'm done with you. I'm done. Stop. You're Taylor! Yeah, I'm done that, Dakota! Your daughter... You're screaming. Your daughter just got hit in the head with a metal chair. Because of you. No, you! Go and help your daughter! Now! Help your daughter, Taylor! Oh my gosh! If you throw another chair... Are you okay? Taylor! Get away from my daughter! Get away! Then help her! Away! Stop doing this! You threw me. Dude, think of your kids! Gosh! Me too, my daughter. Yeah, I love you too. I love my kids. I don't care. I love your kids. Oh, yeah, I do. I freaking love them to death. No, yeah, I don't care. Look what you're doing. No, nobody deserves it. You're not okay and you're drunk. Go answer, Dakota. I will. What? Oh my gosh. Shut up. Taylor, stop. Shut up. Stop. Oh my gosh. Nothing. She's hammered. And so is he. I'm sober. But throwing stuff at me sober. Taylor, stop. How about we separate? Taylor, you need to just calm down. You threw it at me. Hey, stop.
Wow.
Stop.
So, just a little bit of context here. That voice you heard, the third person at the end, was a police officer who knocked on the door. A neighbor had called in a complaint about the noise, and the officer arrived there. They're still fighting as they're opening the door. You also heard her daughter, who was at the time, I believe, 6 years old, and you could hear her crying after she was hit, yelling, "Mommy."
The authorities believe that the chair may have deflected and hit the child.
And you heard him say, your daughter. You heard Dakota saying your daughter got hit by the chair, and the police report does say that there was a later there was a bruise or a bump on the little girl's head. So the Bachelorette.
Yeah, a bruise or a bump on the little girl's head, and that ultimately, that video, I believe, ultimately ended up in Taylor's arrest. This was just a few years ago, soon before the show's release. Now ABC News out with this report saying that ABC deciding to shelve Taylor Frankie Paul's Bachelorette season amid domestic violence allegations. This story saying in a statement shared with ABC News on Thursday, a Disney Entertainment Television spokesperson said, quote, "In light of the newly released video just surfaced today, we have made the decision to not move forward with the new season of The Bachelorette at this time, and our focus is on supporting the family." So, we'll see what happens here. We'll bring you updates if we learn anything on the future of Taylor Frankie Paul. We have also learned that recording for season 5 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which is the show that kind of got her to where she is now, filming has been paused. Now, according to one of the girls who is a star on the show, she says, this is, I believe, Michaela, who's a star on the show, says that this was a decision made by all of the girls. This was before the cancellation of her season of The Bachelorette was announced. This is Taylor Frankie Paul, excuse me, an interview on Good Morning America. Here we go. Take a look.
The opportunity to respond to recent headlines about the alleged domestic violence of your ex-boyfriend. What do you want to share with us about this?
Honestly, it's been a heavy time to see the headline during this time of The Bachelorette being. It's supposed to be a really exciting time. I'm a person that will always speak my truth, and that's what I'm known for. When the time is right, I will be. Now just trying to be in the present moment and focus on this. But the thing is my first. Mm-hmm. My kids come first, and so just a back and forth moment, worrying about home and headlines.
This interview was also conducted before the video by TMZ was released.
It's just
we did reach out to Dakota for a statement. We did not get a response from him. Reports that the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives production on the next season. I know there's a season 5 was in production. It's paused. Is that true?
Honestly, I call the shots with production. So as of now, it also has been paused, but I do not know as far as it was, but I don't know for how long.
And you're one of the executive producers on the show.
I got told that this year.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't. I was like, what does that mean? I was like, I think just because we share our lives and we produce like our own, lives.
Yeah.
If that necessarily what that means, really.
And
so there's that interview. This is a story that we will for sure follow. I am interested to see maybe a response that we will get from the men who were expected to appear on The Bachelorette. I'm interested about that aspect of things because I was actually watching a video from Harry Jowsey, who also, I believe, starred on The Bachelorette many seasons ago, saying these men are people who have kind of given up a large part of their lives to be in this show. And now, at this point in time, the entire season just canceled because allegations about the Bachelorette star who is expected to be the Bachelorette, Taylor Frankie Paul. So we will continue bringing you all updates on this story when we learn more. But for now, we do want to turn right now to National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard. She is testifying here in front of a committee, kind of giving her yearly update on what the national intelligence community has found, what's being done. But for a long time, she has been anti-war, essentially. Her comments have alleged to have brought us to allude that she is against war. Here's what she said when she was pressed on what the intelligence community thought about, is there actually some type of imminent threat on Iran? Take a look.
In her prepared opening statement, Director Gabbard wrote, quote, as a result of Operation Midnight Hammer last summer, Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated. There has been no efforts since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability. But notably, Director Gabbard did not read that portion of her statement during her remarks. Some Democratic senators noting that omission and pressed Director Gabbard on whether Iran posed an imminent threat, as the president claimed.
You omitted that paragraph from your oral opening. Was that because the president had said there was an imminent threat 2 weeks?
No, sir. I recognize that the time was running long, and I skipped through some of the portions.
So you chose to take
of my oral delivered remarks.
You chose to omit the parts that contradict the president.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False. This is the worldwide threats hearing where you present to Congress national intelligence, timely, objective, and independent of political considerations. Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that, as the White House claimed on March 1st, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
Once again, Senator, the intelligence community has provided the inputs that make up this annual threat assessment.
You won't answer the question. It
is the nature of the imminent threat that the president has to make that determination based on a collection and volume
of
information and intelligence that he is provided with.
It comes after yesterday the director of National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kent, resigned.
Okay, so there you go. There's the news that we are getting right now. We also have some video we want to show you from moments ago, and that's kind of what I was just working on in these last few seconds, because I just learned that there was a gaggle outside of the White House, but essentially Tulsi Gabbard refusing to say whether there was an imminent threat Iran posed before the U.S. and Israel went into strike. Moments ago, President Donald Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio speaking outside the White House. Let's turn the audio up and listen in.
Iran executed 3 people this week.
Terrible.
You have vowed strong action in the past. What message would you send?
Well, we've been hitting them awfully hard. I mean, I don't know if you can possibly get hit harder, but these are thugs and animals and horrible people. But you can't hit anybody harder than we've hit them. But I'm not surprised. They executed 3 young people for protesting.
And do you plan to escort those ships through the Strait of Hormuz with or without allies?
We're doing very well there. We're doing very well overall. You know, we don't use the Strait. The United States, we don't need it. Europe needs it. Korea, Japan, China, a lot of other people. So they'll have to get involved a little bit on that one.
Do you still want South Korea supporting United States?
Now, what about it?
Do you still want South Korea supporting?
Well, I love South Korea. We have a great relationship with South Korea. We're helping South Korea a lot.
Mr. President, do you think Israel will be ready to end the war when you're ready?
I think so, yeah.
Mr. President,
the relationship's a very good one. I think so. You know, we want more or less similar things. You know what we want? We want victory, both of us, and that's what we've got.
Mr. President, how will the operation?
Well, you know, I may have a plan or I may not, but how would I ever say that to a reporter? If I said that to a reporter, Marco would say, "Please, sir, let's bring you over to the helicopter immediately." Right? No, I can't tell you that. It's certainly a place that's people are talking about, but I can't say. Yeah.
Are you ruling out
How will the
there,
Operation Epic Fury affect talks with Russia on Ukraine?
What about it?
Are the talks on back burner right now because of
no, we're talking about it. I think it'll get done.
When do you expect the next round of talks to take place?
They take place almost every day. We're making a lot of progress.
You said that the war was militarily won in Iran. What did you mean by that? You said the war was militarily won in Iran. What did you mean by that?
Oh, I think we've won. We've knocked out their Navy, their Air Force. We've knocked out their anti-aircraft. We've knocked out everything. We're roaming free. From a military standpoint, all they're doing is clogging up the strait. But from a military standpoint, they're finished.
So how much longer does the American people expect?
You said opening the Strait of Hormuz is a simple military maneuver.
Very simple.
Yeah, but what did you mean by that?
It's a simple military maneuver. It's relatively safe, but you need a lot of help in the sense of you need ships, you need volume. And NATO could help us, but they so far haven't had the courage to do so. And others could help us, but, you know, we don't use it. You know, at a certain point, it'll open itself at a certain point. But we've defeated the enemy, and they are an enemy. They're a sick group of people. The leadership is gone, the Navy is gone, the Air Force is gone, the anti-aircraft equipment that they have, the radar they have is all gone, everything's gone. The strait itself, the actual strait, how are you? The strait itself is, we're doing a good job, but it would be nice if the countries, including China, if the countries that use it, China uses it 90% of their energy. Japan is 95% of the energy. It would be nice if those countries would get involved.
Has you considered making Park Island job still safe at CNI?
What? I thought she did a good job yesterday, actually.
The American bases in Europe, Lindsey Graham has asked for you to reconsider the American bases in Spain, in Germany, after what they have done in the Strait of Hormuz. What's your take?
Well, it deserves. He's right about asking that, and I think NATO's gone down a long way because they haven't. I mean, they should be helping with the Strait. They get much of their energy from the Strait of Hormuz, and if Lindsey Graham said that, and don't forget, he was the big NATO guy for a while, and now he's not. And a lot of senators and congressmen, they're very upset with the fact that NATO has done nothing.
Pope Leo is calling for a ceasefire. Pope Leo is calling for a ceasefire in the Middle East and to reopen dialogue. What do you say to Pope?
Well, look, we can have dialogue, but I don't want to do a ceasefire. You know, you don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have any equipment. They don't have any spotters. They don't have anti-aircraft. They don't have radar, and their leaders have all been killed at every level. We're not looking to do that. Thank you. Thank you.
Chuck Norris.
Oh, he did?
Chuck Norris, 86 years old.
I bet he was a great guy. Wow. Yeah, he died in the hospital. I moved him along. He was like a quarter third. Yeah, he was Chuck Norris. He was a great guy. He was a really good, tough cookie. We didn't want to fight him. I think he was a tough, great guy, and he was a great supporter. Wow, that's too bad. Tell his family highest respect. Okay? Great man. Well, I know him. I get along with him great, and I probably would actually.
Do you want to make a deal with him? You want to make a deal with leader of Belarus?
Well, I get along with him very well.
Mr. President, are you deploying the additional troops to the region for deterrence or to optimize your operational capabilities?
Well, I would say this, that if I told you the answer to that question, my military people would be very happy. But we have a lot of troops. We have unlimited ammunition. We have the greatest equipment in the world. And we are decimating Iran. It's about time. And frankly, it should have been done long before me. It should have been done before other presidents.
Why did you criticize the president? You took issue with the strike, Mr. President.
Polls have shown that MAGA is essentially unified behind you, as are Republicans when it comes to Iran. There's been reports that the United States might be sending 2,500 Marines to the Middle East. Are you concerned that a move like that could potentially change the unity?
Well, I don't know. I seem to have great support because CNN came out with a poll today that I'm at 100%. And they said they've never seen a poll like that. The CNN poll said I'm at 100%, and they've never seen that before, which is an honor. I was impressed that CNN would do that. But as far as troops are concerned, I can't tell you what we're doing.
Mr. President, you took issue with the
Alrighty, moments ago, President Donald Trump taking questions there outside of the White House. We will continue to follow what things look like. There. Okay, give me 1 second. We'll continue to listen into his remarks and monitor those. I can hear it in my ear. I know you guys can't hear it, but we will follow it here. And if something else comes about these remarks, we will bring them to you. Time is now 3:04. We want to get to the forecast before we get you. It appeared that just President Trump took questions there. We did not hear from Marco Rubio, that we did see him alongside the president. He is expected to be leaving the White House here. Well, he already has left the White House, and he was just, this was again moments ago. So right now, I want to take you right now to a look at your forecast, though, what things look like these next few days as we go into tonight. Friday, 59 degrees. Saturday, mostly sunny, high of 82, low of 59. Sunday, high of 86, low of 52. I can't with this weather, you guys. It seems that 1 second it's freezing. Next thing you know, we're almost at 90 degrees. Okay, here's what we're going to do to wrap up our hour. We're going to continue listening into these remarks coming from President Trump before he abords Marine One. We'll continue listening into the press asking questions here. Let's turn the volume back up.
We're not giving a nuclear weapon to terrorist thugs, and we're knocking the hell out of them. Their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their leaders are gone, their anti-aircraft is gone, everything's gone. And no, I expected worse, actually. I thought that oil prices would go much higher when I did this. We just set every record in the book with Dow, with the S&P. Dow hit 50,000, S&P hit 8,000, 7,000, at levels, at speed like nobody's ever seen before. But I said, I have to go off of that path, and I have to take a little journey. We have to get and he would agree, but he's not going to say it. And this is not St. Patrick's Day, by the way. What are you doing with that tie? But we had to go off on a circuitous path and take care of business, and we are in the process of doing it. And I'll tell you, I think we're weeks ahead of schedule. My Secretary of State is very happy. You have a question for Marco?
Yes. How soon President Trump said this week that he could take Cuba? How soon? And what are you guys hearing from your Senate colleagues about the chances of the Save America Act?
Doing okay. Voter ID, you have to have citizenship to vote, and I'm hearing very good things. I mean, I was hearing negative things because the Democrats are all against voter ID. They're all against citizenship to vote. They're against transgender. They like the transgender thing with utilization of your children. All of the things that we talked about. We added to no men and women's sports, right? You know that. We added that. And when you add them all up, whether you take 4 or 5, I think they're all 95 to 99%. I hear it's going, it should be an easy path, but we need Democrat votes. They don't want to approve voter ID because they cheat. They don't want to approve citizenship. In other words, we want to have citizenship in order to vote. You have to prove your citizenship. The Democrats don't want to do that. You know why, Peter? You know why? Because they want to cheat, Peter. Now, speaking of something that's more pleasant, see that? It's going to be the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world. Nothing like it. And they just started today one of the biggest pours of concrete that's ever been seen in Washington.
When they're doing the construction, does it ever wake you up?
It makes me happy. When I hear those pile drivers, my wife doesn't love it, but I love the sound. I love the sound of concrete. I love the sound of pile drivers.
Mr. President, how are you? Mr. President, one question. How are you? How are you?
Alrighty, so Alrighty, so we go from that feed there to this is actually not at the White House. That's at Joint Base Andrews. We'll take you to this camera live right now here in Brooklyn, as that will conclude this edition of Brooklyn News Live. I want to thank you all for joining us throughout the last little bit. We'll see you all right back here on Monday. Thank you for watching.